Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is mammoth hunting. And that may seem like a very weird sort of topic, but it's really relating to the path of personal growth and how oftentimes the fundamental issues remain kind of like the elephant in the middle of the room that we don't talk about. And the thing about the mammoths is that they're these mammoth elephant sort of creatures that somehow remain invisible despite the huge impact that they have in all corners of our lives. So we're going to get to talk about that today. But before we get started, let's take a deep breath in through your, we're going to get settled. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flooding into your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing every cell, every organ, bringing vital life energy throughout your body and being. And as you exhale any stress, any tension, any negativity and fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your molecules, all your electrons, and lighting your cells up from the inside out to create this marvelous glow out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining stress, tension, fatigue, negativity. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Softly, softly, softly. Press your fingers against your palms and feel that gentle tingling and tickling and those stimulated nerve endings and how delicious that can be. And bring yourselves present right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another week. I don't know how that keeps happening. It happens so fast. Anyway, today we're going to talk about hunting mammoths. Good morning, Rosalind. And Monday, electric oxygen sparking inside for cell renewal. And exactly. I love it, Rosalind. Thank you. And good morning, Irma. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk about hunting mammoths. This is my latest thing with all my clients, and I got a dose of my own medicine over the weekend. Actually, not just over the weekend, but over the past week. So it's really, really interesting to notice that in our path to transformation, personal growth, oftentimes the things that are the most persistent, the most prevalent, are things that we don't even notice, we don't acknowledge, and or they're things that we have been dealing with for so long on so many different levels that it's not part of our conscious awareness as an issue, because we've normalized these things. We've normalized these foundational things that I'm calling mammoths. And I'm going to ask you to hold on for 1 second. I'll be right back. I can still talk, but Maggie and I are having this ongoing battle about her just decimating one of my plants. And so she knows that when I'm online, I really believe she does know when I'm online that she can get away with going over there and eating this plant. Anyway, so mammoths, let's talk about this. I think that we've all experienced in the path of personal growth, we've all experienced the recurrence of certain issues throughout our lives, right? That it seems like we never get out of this loop sometimes of the same issue again and again and again and again, showing its face in different ways. And we've spoken about this a lot before, where we talk about a spiral. So that, good morning, Christina. Great to have you here. We're talking about hunting mammoths. Now, I'm not a hunter, so this is we're going to catch these mammoths and put them in a sanctuary, okay? But where they can't do damage and they can live out their lives happily. Um, but we're talking about how these same issues seem to recur over the course of our lives. The thing is that, in my experience, when they recur in a different frequency. They show up in um, a different manifestation or at a different level. And the idea with the mammoths is to be able to go down to root cause and to really root this thing out from its very core, whatever it may be. And the interesting thing too that I experienced over the weekend, there are events in my life that are just triggering a lot of old pain and really deeply held issues that have been visited and revisited a multitude of times. But it came back over the weekend in such a fury that I got to really see this. I had debated about calling today the vortex of darkness or whatever, something along that line, where I recognize the downward spirals. That's what I was thinking of calling it. But I recognized how when when one of these fundamental triggers occur, it does sort of create a vortex that draws in all the other vulnerabilities, all the other pieces that end up coming, this whole big vortex, this whole collective trauma. It just builds on itself and it goes darker and deeper and darker and deeper. And these are the mammoths. So what I've noticed about hunting mammoths is that it seems like, if I want to try and keep this metaphor, that they run in herds, so that there's a leader, and then all these other mammoths sort of come in and are playing together and wreaking havoc, actually. And good morning, Duncan. Great to have you here. And Duncan is replying to Rosalind saying, laugh out loud. Yep, been feeling electric when touching things lately. That's interesting. A new awakening, right? That's pretty awesome. And Yama, all beautiful souls, and Maggie, don't be naughty now. Yes, Maggie's feeling her oats. Anyway, so this mammoth thing is what I noticed in myself over the weekend is that there was this big triggering event, or a couple events, and what came to the surface were all kinds of thoughts and awarenesses and behaviors and emotions that I hadn't seen for a long time. So they had been dug up from really deep and they were really old. And I got to thankfully be able to have a perspective of being able to see it at the same time that I was experiencing it, and to see the dynamic of how one trigger fed another, fed another, fed another. It was almost like dominoes, that all these things were all lined up, ready to go, a hair trigger. And then all of a sudden, one of them got triggered and it set off this whole production, this whole big automated production. It was like it had me rather than I had it, in a very, very big way. And the perils of hunting mammoths is that they don't want to go easily. They will not surrender easily. They don't want to be captured. And even if we do a capture or a catch and release them into a sanctuary of some sort, they really want to fight back. And the fighting back, we talked last week about self-sabotage. The fighting back of these mammoths also often shows up as self-sabotage, as something that is going to reinforce all of the beliefs and all of the mechanisms that they represent. And so that's the peril of this deep personal transformation journey. It's not for sissies. It's not for the faint of heart. It takes tremendous courage and will to keep coming back to face the deep challenges of the battle with the mammoth, or the part of us that wants to stay in power, stay in control. And when it's threatened, it's going to fight for its life. And we get to see that. So in this really radical downward spiral that I saw myself going into it, and I was able to see the different pieces. I just did tons and tons and tons of work. Like I woke up so many times during the night and just continued doing session work. And for those of you that are unfamiliar or don't have a practice that assists you in clearing things, then you might want to look into tapping. I've talked about tapping before. If you go to a website called thetapping-solution.com, there are all kinds of tapping processes to go through to clear all different things. I really recommend that you support yourself with some kind of personal practice that assists you to clear emotional stuff as it arises. So Duncan, thank you for asking. Duncan's asking, how's my mom? Hope all is okay. Sending love and strength to you both. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. My mom is doing better. She was transferred from hospital to rehab. And, it's going to take a little while to get her balanced with all the different things going on, but I think she's in good hands and receiving good care. And she believes that, which is, she feels relieved about that, which is a wonderful thing. So what came up for me, without going into detail, were family dynamics. And I've pretty much dedicated my life to healing myself and healing my family. And periodically things arise that show me there's more work to be done, both on myself and in my family. So that's kind of what was happening. And that has been my lifelong biggest trigger. And along with it comes all these other dynamics that get pulled into that vortex and create that spiral. Good morning, Dennis. Welcome. It's great to be here with you. And to everybody else who's here and not chiming in, thank you so much for being here. It's always a really enriching time for me to spend this time with you. Anyway, lots and lots and lots of us have issues with family. That's our fundamental ground, I think, for growing and for challenges. And many of us experience very challenged families. Some of us are gifted with very supportive and healthy and nurturing families, and we get to grow through support rather than challenge. So it's a spectrum. But anyway, we're talking about mammoths, and I also had a really interesting conversation with a friend about drama. And thanks everybody for sending such love and light to my mom. That's awesome. And to me, it's deeply, deeply appreciated. Thank you. So I guess in family, that's where we can receive our primal wounds, can we say, and our challenges to grow. And I had this really interesting conversation with a friend over the weekend about drama and how there are situations in our lives sometimes where we have these dramatic interludes, and then we tend to perpetuate the trauma and the drama. Like we'll just keep chewing on something and chewing on it and chewing on it and chewing on it and replaying it in our minds and seeing it over and over, and it just, we continue nursing the drama, and I wonder what's up about that. Why do we do that? What are we getting from the drama? And this friend said that they thought in their situation the drama, or perpetuating the drama of it, the high emotion and the experiencing of a re-experiencing of the circumstance and replaying it and shifting the perspectives and trying to process what is that about, that we continue to hold that and perpetuate it for ourselves. And so the hypothesis was that perhaps perpetuating the drama was to deepen the lesson, to really embody the experience in such a way as to never recreate it again. So by perhaps embodying it through an extended experience of drama around it, that maybe it would take a deeper hold, that maybe it would make the lesson more permanent. And I don't know if that's true. I think that we can create permanent learning without perpetually reenacting the drama and trauma. I've seen that, in fact. And so I know that we don't have to keep punishing ourselves over situations. It's really interesting to see this mammoth of mine fighting for its rulership over the weekend. I had moments in this spiral. Thankfully it happened pretty quickly, and I was able to process through it a lot more quickly than in the past. And but there were elements of guilt and shame and blame and being unacceptable and being an outsider and not belonging and feeling unloved and feeling deeply isolated. And I mean, on and on and on, all these different experiences that were very familiar from a long time ago, that were my my way of being a long time ago. And to see them all bubbling up like there were still remnants of them existing and taking hold and sort of running me. We talked about the robot, inner robot, that is programmed within us. And you know, the robot was asserting itself to its best ability, certainly over the weekend. And what I got to see about it, and I think that this is a key in hunting mammoths or recognizing mammoths, is that it's not just all one big mammoth. It was like a herd, and there were these different components. Like, wow, what's creating this reactivity? What what is it that is being served by this reactivity? What am I able to expose as a result of the reactivity? And in asking those kinds of questions, we get to see more deeply into wounds that may need healing. I think that that is the case for me, that there were triggers around mortality and issues that had arisen in the course of my father's dying, and just a lot of history came on like an avalanche, you know, like one memory drags along 10 others, you know. And I see that that's how the mammoth defends itself. And Duncan says, is the robot the ego? I have said this before. I think that the ego gets a really bad rap. I think that we have a lot of that the ego can be a wonderful resource, and it can be a tool as long as we're able to use the ego rather than the ego using us. I don't, I think the robot is something beyond the ego. Although the ego could behave robotically, perhaps, I think that the robot is something that is just our programming, our reactivity, our unconscious reactivity, the programs that have been ingrained in us and that run usually invisibly. These, maybe we're talking about mammoths. Um, um, I kind of think maybe the programming of the robot connects with the mammoths that I'm trying to talk about. And understand it's not like these things are real. These are all metaphors, right? To just access a way to talk about things that hopefully is relatable. That's really what this is about. So Christina says some people just cannot function without drama, as it is all they have known. It's familiar and keeps excitement in their lives. Exactly. Thank you for that. So yes, the drama, and there's more, but I just want to respond to that. I think that some people's experience is that if they're experiencing drama, they know they're alive. That's how they know they're alive, is through all this crazy drama. And uh, it's almost like any attention is good attention, for instance, even if it's negative. The same thing with drama. So for me, Christina continues, I have to figure out how to not be hurt or fall into someone else's pit of drama snakes. Oh my gosh, what a perfect visual, the viper pit of drama snakes. Exactly, exactly. To be caught up in the drama of others, and then, you know, navigating the minefield of other people's reactivity and perceptions, right? Like how to steer clear of that and to remain centered, you know, because my experience was that as this mammoth showed itself, I lost my center. I lost my center. I lost my sense of self. I lost my sense of balance and really fell into the robot and just sort of became this robotic behavior that was patterned for forever, that I have been working on clearing for so many years. And the thing is, I could make stories up about that, and I think that this is how the mammoth wins, is if we make up stories about our slipping into the robot and we beat ourselves up more and more, that's part of the robot. So it's kind of like this Mobius strip where you end up in this endless loop and you can't get out because you saw yourself in this old behavior, and so you punish yourself for that, which is part of the old behavior, and go on and on and on, rather than recognizing the dynamic of what happened, falling into the robot, waking up from the robot, and being able to observe it so that you can recognize that you are not the robot, and make new choices and go on. Part of the self-punishing is the drama, right? Adding to the drama, which is the fuel for the robot. You know, it's kind of where it gets its energy, is through the drama and the perpetuation of these old patterns. So I'm wondering if you guys recognize this robot in yourself sometimes, when you might be, family is a perfect trigger, oftentimes holds all kinds of minefields for the drama robot and the mammoths in the room. And I wonder, I know that some of you have shared your challenges with family and relationship here. And I think if we can recognize that these are patterned responses, patterned reactions, the quicker we're able to recognize the patterned reactions, the quicker we're able to potentially free ourselves from them. And also, when we recognize them, then we're recognizing that they are not who we are, that they are simply a part of programming that we have, but that we are bigger than these patterns. And like I said, for me, having the availability of the work that I do for myself is really transformational and life-saving. And if you don't have a practice that you can implement at this moment, I really encourage you to learn tapping. Again, the Tapping Solution is a website that has all kinds of meditations. And what it does is it helps to release these programs and release emotion and release pain, and to bring you back to balance and connection and alignment with yourself. So I think when we mammoths in the room that we're trying to address sometimes spur us to fall into patterned behaviors. They try to create instances and behaviors that will perpetuate them when they're threatened, right? They're going to assert themselves. So know that that's normal. It's not unusual that in the face of a massive breakthrough and a possibility for growth, that the very thing you're looking to grow beyond reasserts itself with greater strength. And we see that culturally. We see that as we're trying to shift globally into new ways of being. We see the assertion of the negative arising as it's hopefully it's death throes, right? Hopefully as it's passing into a new frequency. So yes, hunting mammoths can be a perilous undertaking. As I said, it's not for the faint of heart, this path of transformation, right? It challenges us at the biggest turns, and it challenges us to rise beyond ourselves, to rise beyond our perception of our limitations, to rise beyond our programming, right? So we can see ourselves, and if we can recognize these patterns as mechanics, then we have a better shot at dismantling them and denaturing them and diffusing them. So I think that's it for today. A great way to start the week is by dismantling the programming, or recognizing how we can begin to do so. Welcome, Elaine. Great to have you show up and join us. Thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody who has engaged here and listened and participated and just held the space for these conversations. It's a gift to me, and I hope it's a gift to you. It's just such a blessing to have this time with you. So I think that's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin, and this is Maggie. And we're here on the Core Connection. We go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And Enlightened World Network is a rich and growing community with also the Enlightened World page. I believe I can't believe that went out of my mind. And also at One with the Earth. Enlightened World Living. That's what it is. Enlightened World Living, and at One with the Earth. And it's such a rich community of folks looking to dream a beautiful and even more beautiful world into being. So until next time, again, thanks and so much love. Take care.